They had to get logged in. Okay, we are live streaming whenever you are ready.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order. Did you check out the agenda?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the agenda.
Been moved in a second. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda passes. Our next item is call to the public. Do we have any public?
I've got someone online, but no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. That being the case, our first item is consider approving the Heartland Material Management Planning Committee bylaws and as written and authorized the Isabella County DPA to sign the same.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Charity. Sweet.
In regards to materials management planning, as we continue to work down the list of tasks and to make sure that we're staying within the allotted time frame provided by Eagle, the next thing that the Board of Commissioners needs to do is to approve the Heartland Material Management Planning Committee bylaws as written. We have sent the bylaws to legal, to Tim Perrone, and for review, and we made the recommended changes. Once approved, Director Jake Wharton will sign as the regional DPA, and I will sign as the Isabella County DPA. Each county within the Heartland group will be presenting to their Board of Commissioners or their county approval agency for approval, and will then have each of their counties DPA sign as well.
Sounds good. And I'm glad this is going step by step, further closer to, really functioning.
Yeah, and you'll see moving forward for the staff reports, I think we've outlined each of the tasks that have been completed. I think we're
I
gonna
see
stick
that,
to
yeah.
this. To the structure for the staff report, so that way you guys can see what we've completed as far as tasks, and that'll bring forward the next task. So,
Yeah, and then I know from experience on other things that it's not that easy to get off the counties together to do stuff, right?
No,
They have
No,
different
it's not.
days, they have different ways and all that
Yes,
stuff.
yeah.
So I'm really impressed with
Yeah.
great job, the team. Okay, could I get a motion on that, please?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve and send this to the work session for next week. Consider approving the Heartland Material Management Planning Committee bylaws as written and authorize Isabella County DPA to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying
Thank you.
aye.
Aye.
It's done. It will be forwarded to next week's meeting. Thank you. Charity. Thank you. And Jake. Okay, our next item is consider adopting the proposed Isabella County Parks and Recreation Commission rules and ordinances revision and fee modifications effective immediately as recommended by the Isabella County Parks and Recreation Committee. We have Alexis Hanson here. They'll break this down. So hi.
Good morning. So back in October, you probably remember, I brought a big batch of changes.
Yeah.
But our goal is that we're always kind of looking at things and working our way through what policies work best and what fee structure works best to serve the department and the residents. And so, shortly after doing that, we finally landed on some solutions for 2 sort of critical issues that we've been dealing with. And so I wanted to bring those forward and get those into place before the next camping season. So what we have is a revision to the ordinance, which adds a violations enforcement policy. So we had a couple situations last year where it may have become relevant to go down the path of suspending someone's park use privileges. And we had those conversations as a Parks Commission, and I had some conversations with County Legal Counsel. Interestingly enough, when I went to a MACPRO meeting, I found that we had some other regional parks departments who had recently been through this, and it had gone all the way through some legislation, and so they recommended that you take a look at those policies and sort of get your affairs in order if you were to go down that path. And so that discussion sort of centered around, if you're gonna revoke someone's privileges, there needs to be a clear black and white policy to do that.
Sure.
And then also obviously, kind of a nationwide expectation for people is that there's due process. And so to protect their rights. And so we were able to borrow language from another municipal park provider that had been reviewed by their legal counsel. I had it reviewed by our legal counsel, and then we customized it to fit our rules and ordinance. And basically what it does is it outlines the steps that need to be taken on our end as a staff and as a Parks Commission if we're going down the road of revoking someone's park use privileges. In both the scenario where they've maybe had multiple violations and we've got documented incident reports. And then also the scenario where maybe there's an immediate safety or security threat and we need to take immediate action. So it outlines those pieces. And then it also outlines an appeals process wherein their first appeal would be heard by our Parks Commission Vice Chair and 2 members. And then they actually are able to appeal that decision to a final decision by the Parks Chair and 2 other board members. And so it gives this really full picture of the process, their ability to appeal. And it's sort of then protects us legally if someone did want to fight back against this. So we just felt it was prudent and wise for the future of the system to have this in place. It's been reviewed by outside and county legal counsel, and it's unanimously supported by the Parks Commission.
Any questions or comments?
No, sounds like a good plan though.
Yeah, the hope is to never have to use it, but we have
Yeah.
it there if we do need
Well,
it.
you mentioned some problems too, like people that reserve spaces or on the mooring place, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have people who just for whatever reason don't want to go along with policies, and so this
They're
gives us
libertarians.
this gives us a little bit of backing to deal with those situations, and then like I said, when there's safety and security threats too, so I think just prudent for us to move forward with. And then the second piece of this, any questions on that? And that'll just plug into, we have a section 34, our rules and ordinance is already in regards to penalties and violations, and so we're just gonna plug this in to that existing section of the ordinance. And then the second one is a fee change, which it's actually a restructure of the entire process for watercraft permits. So what we have in existence right now is that if you come into a park, and this is mostly relevant for Herrick and Coldwater, because if you go to Deerfield or Majeski or Meridian, you know, you're not going to have to go through the gate and get a watercraft permit. But for those campgrounds where we have a more developed boat launch, what is in place right now is that you would come in, you could get a $3 day pass, and it's a paper receipt. Well, when it comes to then a park ranger identifying your vehicle or your watercraft with a paper receipt that was printed off, a lot gets lost in translation there. We're also not collecting information. So in the case of which this happens a lot, we have just at the end of this past season, we had an abandoned trailer we were trying to identify, an abandoned boat that we were trying to identify. We have folks who use our permitted mooring area that aren't supposed to, or folks who might leave a boat in the first come, first serve mooring area for weeks at a time. And if they came in on a day pass, we have no way currently to connect back with them.
Got it.
And we have mulled this over. We also have issues because we have very limited trailer parking, and then we have overflow long-term parking. So we have short-term parking that is in high demand, and then we have overflow parking. There's just it's a very layered issue, and it's complicated for us in the current format, and then it also has created a lot of frustration for our park users, our campers, our seasonal campers. So we're hoping this new structure will streamline everything and eliminate a lot of headaches while keeping it even more affordable. So what we're proposing is that we would move to eliminate the day pass entirely. So that $3 day pass would be gone. We now have 2 annual pass options. We have a $5 annual. So once you buy this $5 sticker, you can use it for the whole season. I mean, it doesn't get much more affordable than that. Basically, if you bring in a watercraft of any kind, whether it be a kayak, an inflatable canoe, a paddleboard, actually, probably a paddleboard, wouldn't even fall into this category, but just to try to give some examples, and it fits in the bed of your truck or on the storage rack of your car. It's just a basic watercraft annual permit. You get the sticker, it's $5. We would collect some information to be able to contact you. You to fix this to your watercraft. And you're good for the season. And then
Correct, 'cause then it'd be right on the boat or whatever, if they
Yeah.
left it there, right?
Yep, and then the second option would be what we're calling a trailered watercraft permit. And that, because then you have the trailer, it enters into that trailer parking complicated hornet's nest that we've been dealing with. So we've come up with a $10 annual sticker permit for that. We're actually getting it printed as a 2-piece stub with matching numbers. So one sticker goes on the boat, one sticker goes on the trailer. We collect your information. It is $10 for the year. So it's still super affordable. It's gonna help us with enforcement. And we've also designed the permit so that it matches the annual vehicle permit. So our rangers can now look at your vehicle, your trailer, your boat, and as long as the color is right and the year is right on there, it's really easy for our rangers to identify that you have the correct permit in place for the year as well. And again, $5 for the year, $10 for the year. We think that with getting rid of the day pass option for people, we're still keeping it really affordable, even if they do come in only for one day.
I would imagine that would save time at the gate too, not having to sell day pass. for
Yeah.
Boats.
Yeah, and if we're gonna ask them to start collecting the information for everybody, it streamlines the process for them a little bit. So, and hopefully it even eliminates the amount of transactions because people with the watercraft will be kind of doing a one-time deal for this season.
Mhm.
So, that's the modification there, and again, that was fully unanimously supported by the Parks Commission to move forward. Effective, and both of these would be effective immediately if approved at the next board meeting.
Okay, could I get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we consider adopting the proposed Isabella County Parks and Recreation Commission rules and ordinance revisions and fee modifications effective immediately as recommended by the Isabella County Parks and Recreation Commission.
Thank you.
Support, it's been moved and supported to move item 5 to the work and regular sessions of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion passes and item 5 will be forwarded to next week's meetings of the county commission. Okay. Our next item is discussion regarding Lake Isabella water supply.
Chair was at the elected, so do it.
Mr. Graham, Mr. Paul Gross. Here. What's happening in
Does
Lake
anybody
Isabella?
want
No.
Well,
it?
Good answer.
it? Go ahead. I can cut.
You go ahead.
Well, I've been on the Board of Public Works for probably 6 years. Probably one of the first things that come to my attention is why is Isabella County operating a municipality's water system where, it wouldn't be any different with any other municipalities and there's quite a history behind that, I think. And some of the history is when it was first, Lake Isabella was first developed, probably in the late 60s and early 70s. I think they built the water system, and I think they didn't have they built the water system, then they went bankrupt. And then during the bankruptcy,
Just that plot.
yeah, just that plot, but they had no one to run it. I think so. The county, out of kind of as a goodwill gesture, started to run it.
Well, I think they ended up with it through the bankruptcy. Acquired it somehow. I don't know either. I wasn't involved in it back then.
Well, there's been a lot of discussions about this for the past probably several years. And then being on the Board of Public Works, it seemed like it was quite a burden on the county. They were paying a lot of money. They had a person designated to operate that system. And, they were supplying, operating and, different types of things, because there was a lot of costs related to it and doing the billing and everything like that. And, that just didn't seem, it seemed okay at the time, but once Lake Isabella Village of Lake Isabella Incorporated, it would just seem natural that they would take over the operation of, you know, of a municipal facility, utility within their system. And I think there's been a lot of discussion with them and with us, and, we formed a committee, and I'm just looking at some of the history materials on the back and forth over the last 2 or 3 administrators and drain commissioners. Has been kind of an effort to discuss this. And, now we're trying to push it forward and saying, okay, now's the time, and Administrator Frost, we requested the attorney's opinion. And I don't know if you've seen that.
I have,
She did it.
she did get it. Okay, I'll have to check. Oh, you have thank you.
Anyway, I mean, there was always the negotiation back and forth of the parks was always the kind of the problem that was trying to, because they wanted to negotiate it, which I don't blame them. But if you look at the deeds of the park,
Mhm.
I mean, it's deeded to remain a park in Isabella County. Right. And I've got a copy of that.
Okay.
Can that be changed?
No, as long as they meet, the county meets the criteria of, and it's laid out in the deed.
Mhm.
And what the criteria, and it's just a basic maintenance, they can't have boat launch, can't sell, you can't, if you read through that, it's what it is right now.
Do you know when's the last time communication has been between the county and Lake Isabella?
Is
There. Is
Well,
it?
here's our dilemma.
Yeah.
We have 3 members of our public works board that are actual residents. One is Tim Wall, manager,
Mhm.
and Bob Campbell and Bob Lashway. So, yeah, it's part of we talk about it every meeting. What I would like to know, if those 2 or those 3 people, should they even be voting on anything that we do? Right?
Conflict of interest,
Right,
seems to me.
and I don't know that. I want to, that's one thing that we want to look into.
Well, I'm gonna offer you my opinion here.
Sure.
It's, from what I see and reading the material and the background information. And based on the attorney's opinion, there's nothing in the attorney's opinion in the incorporation of Lake Isabella that says anything about utilities except Consumers Power in Tri-County. But if you look at the discussion items, that first paragraph, in my opinion, based on the attorney's opinion, is that the county should just give them a 60 or 90-day notice and to turn it over to them. And, the county would probably have to incur any unpaid bills and things like that. Because if you read that first paragraph, and I'm not gonna read it here, I think I have it, it basically says, I think it allows us to do that.
But on the second paragraph, it says it's set forth, the county likely cannot force the village to assume responsibility, but may negotiate for a voluntary transfer. So if we do a 90-day, we're kind of forcing them, and so it would kind of going against our legal opinion here, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's for you to decide.
So, I'm just discussing, I'm just throwing it out for discussion.
Well, it just seems like it's their system they've incorporated, and it should be something they should be operating.
When did they incorporate,
98,
Okay.
I believe.
April 28th of 98. Yep. On this.
We've always felt that way. I mean, wondering why.
30 years.
Because they're independent, they're a village, all that
Right.
stuff. And also, there's so many things you have to go through. You went through the lake levels and judges and, things like that. That'd be better if they did that. We have other things, we have bigger problems, actually.
No, this is separate from the lake level, correct? This is just the water supply. So this is
The lake level is
your,
no,
oh,
No,
LIPOA.
okay. No,
The only thing I am responsible for out there is the inspection of the dam. the
Okay.
report and inspection.
Okay,
And they're required to notify me on the lake level, which they do. They're very good. They don't tell me when they're opening up. They tell me, they even told they've started their dredging project. And, but as far as the lake level, that's LIPO.
Well, I'm just happy that we're here talking about. it.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Me
And I
too.
think there's probably room for negotiations. I don't know if that's necessary in my mind, but on the other hand, I mean, at least we're talking about it, and now seems like a really good opportunity.
Right, yep.
Considering,
Yep.
you know, all the circumstances around it, and, you know, it doesn't feel like as a member of the Isabella County Board of Public Works,
Mhm,
I feel it's our responsibility to look after all of Isabella County.
mhm.
And I just wonder why the people of Coldwater Township or Lincoln Township should be putting. You know, there'd be some revenues going to run a village's water system.
Mhm, okay.
Maybe simple-minded, that's.
Well, I may explore a conversation with Manager Wolf and just, say I'm new to all this, please explain. What we got here?
Looked into the.
And I
whole
want to
thing
just kind of,
very Well, but we haven't really discussed it.
yeah, so I'm gonna have I'll have a
He's
conversation.
made offers, you know,
Okay.
proposals to. The administrators have passed, but it's nothing that never kind of came to the top.
Okay,
So-
I'll revisit that
Great.
discussion.
That seems like a good next step.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then if I need any background information, I'll contact either one of you for.
Well, it just seems like it's just a great time to start talking about it.
Mhm.
Get
Yeah.
this thing, get it resolved,
Okay,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? But one thing I want to point out, the county actually had Tim Warner operating the system, and that's the big thing. So once Tim retired, we've absorbed the billing and the missed digs, that's little sort of stuff. But operating the system, my office isn't qualified to do that now without Tim. So
So is the county now paying someone to
Yeah.
operate their systems?
Yeah, we are.
Sean McBride and
Mike Deering,
Michael Deering.
So that's interesting.
quick question for you. Who sets the water rates?
Hmm?
Who sets the rates?
We did a study a few years ago and got them bumped up because the system was not, Margaret worked with Tim on that. And
Okay.
They went through and did a poll of all the surrounding small systems in the area and bumped the system. It pretty much maintains itself, but it doesn't ever, we had to borrow money to do the tank painting.
Yeah.
Remember
Oh,
that?
yeah, I remember that.
That
Yep.
sort of thing,
It was
refurb the wells.
expensive.
We have to borrow money and then pay it back.
Yeah. I see the balance sheet right here and it all kind of
Yeah.
shows on
It's- yeah.
with that fund, 591
Right.
fund.
And Tim was meticulous on doing that, and we don't have Tim anymore, so.
So this makes timing great.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Okay.
so
I'm not qualified.
I'll reach out to Mr. Wolf and start some conversations. If that's okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Committee.
Great
Makes
idea.
sense. Appreciate you
Okay.
bringing that forward.
Yeah,
It's something that I think kind of the pulse of the public works is that it needs to be resolved.
Mhm.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks.
Paul.
None of us got shot.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any announcements?
I have none.
Don't have any? Call to the public one more time?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, that being the case, I'll adjourn.
Got
Whoops,
one.
one more thing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a quick announcement.
Sure.
And let you guys know where we were on the Recycle Coach app.
Great.
Onboarding. I know originally it stated that we were hoping to launch before the end of the year. But I found in digging into the onboarding process, that it is a lot. And because we don't want to give out false information right off the bat to
Mhm.
residents.
Mhm.
We feel it's best to take a little bit of extra time
All right.
to make sure that we're being really thorough in the information that they're asking us to go through.
Mhm.
Obviously, moving forward, it's going to be a constant changing, evolving thing with more information being input, but I want to make sure the information they have in there right now is correct.
Yeah.
So at this point, we are looking at a launch just after the first of the year, which we feel may be better, getting people engaged just after the holidays and things of that nature, so.
Okay, when I was at the conference, I met her.
Kate, Melby?
Yeah, she said she would be probably working with us, but anyway, that's her phone number if you want.
I can, but I don't, she's not my,
Oh, she's not your contact person?
No.
Okay.
The lady that I'm working with, her name is Carly.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I don't remember her exact title, is it my coach or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the one that I'm working directly
Okay.
with. Now, I have been in conversation with Ryan, the gentleman
Yeah,
that did the, presentation for everybody. Because we're hoping that once we finish the onboarding and we start getting people engaged with it, that we can show the surrounding counties that we're working with how well the app works, and maybe
Yeah.
we can get some of them guys involved as well.
Okay,
So he is gonna be putting together a presentation for us to be able to provide for them, and we'll go from there.
There's no sense rolling it out until you're 100% sure that everything's
Yeah, it's,
gonna be
it's,
accurate. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
there's a lot involved
Yep.
in it, so we just want to make sure that we're putting the correct information out there, so.
yeah, the more detail that you have, the better
Mhm.
that'll function and the more useful it'll be to the people, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna have to go in and continue to put information in there as we go along, but if we have this set now, we don't have to go back on that. We can just keep moving forward, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hearing that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee.